Hey guys, we are going to do some integer order of operations. So let's start by talking about some exponents. So here we're looking at exponents. We're looking for what is the base. Remember the first number, the big number, is the base. I always think big is the base. So here for this problem, the 5 is the big number, so the 5 is the base, and the 2 is the exponent. There's a few ways we can read this. We can either say 5 squared or 5 to the second power. So you can always say 5 to the whatever power. But remember with the little 2, there's a special way we can say it, and that's with the word squared. Okay, let's look at the next one. So this one, 9 to the third power. The 9 is the base. The 3 is the exponent. Okay, again, you can say 9 to the third power, or you could say 9 cubed. That's the special way to say it when there's a 3 as the exponent. All right, in this next one, we have a negative. So notice the exponent 2 is like touching. We like to say kissing. It's kissing the parentheses. So everything that's inside the parentheses, that's the base. So our base is actually a negative 3. And again, 2 is the exponent. We can say this as negative 3 squared or negative 3 to the second power. Okay, now the important part, how to solve these. This is where it gets a little tricky. So for 5 to the second power, remember we are multiplying the base times itself as many times as the exponent tells us to. So here I'm doing 5 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25. Okay, that's nice and easy. But when we get to the next one, we always have to look at what the exponent's kissing. So the exponent here is touching the parentheses. So the whole base is that negative 5. So we are multiplying negative 5 times negative 5. Now we have to think about our rules. Negative times negative makes it positive. 5 times 5 is 25. So we still get a positive 25 here. Now the next one. Here again is where it starts to get a little tricky for us. So here the exponent is only kissing or touching the 5. It's not touching that negative. That really is almost like the opposite of 5 to the second power. So our base really is 5. So we're going to do 5 times 5, which is 25, but it's the opposite of that. So it is negative 25 for our answer. Okay, one more. Same idea here. The exponent's touching the 5, and it says the opposite of 5 squared. So we're going to be multiplying the 5 times 5, which is 25, but it's the opposite of that, so it makes it a negative 25. Okay, same thing when we have the exponent to the third power. So here, think about what the 3 is kissing. It's only touching the 2. This says the opposite of 2 squared. So sometimes I kind of like to write it like this, like the opposite of, and we're going to do 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. The opposite of 8 is a negative 8. Okay, next one, same thing. It says the opposite of 2 to the third power. So the opposite of 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. Opposite would be a negative 8. Okay, then the next one. I see all those parentheses, which is cool, but the exponent and the whole number, the base, are both inside the parentheses, and so is that negative. So this is, again, the opposite of 2 to the third power. So same thing, the opposite of 2 times 2 times 2, which is a negative 8. Finally, this is the one where the base is actually the negative number, because the exponent is kissing the parentheses, which means everything inside the parentheses is the base. So this is where I'm going negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 2 makes positive 4. Positive 4 times negative 2 makes a negative 8. So we get a negative 8 here as well. All right, pause the video here and you go ahead and try these. Okay, so for 6 to the second power, this is just 6 times 6. 6 times 6 is 36. 5 to the third, sorry, this is a negative 5 to the third power because the exponent is kissing the parentheses. So this is a negative 5 times negative 5 times negative 5. And negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. 25 times -5. If you need to do it off to the side, you can, but that gives me 125. It was a positive times a negative, so negative 125. Okay, next one, 2 to the 4th power. So 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. So I get positive 16. And our last one, this says the opposite of 8 squared. So the opposite of 8 times 8. 8 times 8 is 64. The opposite of that makes it negative 64. All right, so now let's do some order of operations. So remember with order of operations, we use PEMDAS. So I'm going to remind you that real quick. P is for parentheses, the E is for exponents, multiply and divide. Okay, and I put that arrow on there because it's always left to right. It's not always multiply and then divide. It's whichever one you get to first. And then the same thing with add and subtract, left to right. Okay, so first things first, we do parentheses. This one has more than one. It's got parentheses and brackets. So we actually go like the innermost one and work our way out. So I'm going to first do this step. I like to underline which step I'm doing. And then I kind of say, like, I put it on the shelf. I got to solve that. Everything else falls down off the shelf. And I got to have that answer down below. So this -4 plus +2, different sign subtract. So 4 minus 2 is 2. Keep the sign of the larger number. Makes this a -2. And then everything else that was already in the problem has to come down as well. So this 7 minus, put my brackets, and this -6 on the outside. Okay, next step. I still am not done with parentheses because brackets count in that same kind of group. So I'm going to do this step now. 7 minus -2. I would keep change. So that really makes this 7 plus +2, which is 9. Bring this -6 down. And then I have a number right outside parentheses or brackets, which means to multiply. So I'm going to do -6 times 9. 6 times 9 is 54. Negative times positive is a negative. So my answer is -54. So we're still doing the same PEMDAS like steps, but we have these integers, these negatives we have to also remember. Okay, here we go. So think about, actually this one's not too bad. I'm going to have you pause it and you go ahead and do this problem. Okie dokie. So parentheses, that parentheses is just holding the number. It doesn't tell you to do anything. So then exponents, there aren't any. Multiply, divide, yes, I'm going to do that left to right. So this is our first step. 9 times 8 is 72. Negative times positive makes it -72. Bring everything down. It's really important to keep this nice and organized so you don't miss any steps. Okay, then I still need to divide right here. 72 divided by 2. You can do it off to the side if you need to. 2 goes into 7 3 times. With 1 left over, bring down your 2. Goes in 6 times. So I get 36. It was a negative divided by a positive, so negative. Bring everything else down. So this plus -5. And then finally, I'm going to add these same signs, add and keep. So I'm going to add 36 plus 5 is 41. They're both negative, so keep my sign -41. Okay, now we've got an exponent to think about. Go ahead and try this guy out. Remember those exponent rules we did at the beginning. Okay, so I'm going to start with this exponent. I'm going to rewrite it off to the side. So the the exponent is kissing the parentheses. So our base here is a -2. So -2 times -2 times -2. I'm going to do -2 times -2 is +4. +4 times -2 is -8. So this becomes a -8 minus 12. Then I'm going to do the subtraction. It's a subtraction problem, so keep, change. This is really -8 plus -12. 8 plus, they're the same signs now, so add and keep. So 8 plus 12 is 20. They're negative, so -20. Okay, parentheses first, but there's nothing to do inside the parentheses. So then exponents right here. Think about what the base is for this one. What is that exponent kissing? Here it's only kissing the 3. This really says the opposite of 3 squared. So 3 times 3. So 3 times 3 is 9. The opposite of that makes it negative 9. Bring everything else down. Okay, so exponents are done. Multiply, divide. So this right here, remember, is multiplication. So I'm going to do 2 times 8, which is 16. It was a negative times a positive, so negative 16. And finally, we have an addition problem, same signs, add and keep. So 16 plus 9 is 25. They're negative, so negative 25. All right, this one looks a little weird because it's got this fraction in it, but remember a fraction bar is just a division sign. So we're going to start here on that step right there and basically just simplify the fraction. So negative 10 fifths or negative 10 divided by 5, that makes us a negative 2. And I'm going to bring everything else down. Okay, so then parentheses now, exponents, multiply, divide, we're done. So add, subtract, left to right. So I'm going to start with this one, 4 plus negative 2, different sign, subtract. So 4 minus 2 is 2. We keep it a positive because the 4 was bigger, which was positive. Bring down my plus 13, and then 2 plus 13 is positive 15. All right, guys, last one. So parentheses first, right here, is something to do inside the parentheses. So 9 minus 3 is 6. Again, I'm going to write everything else back down here the same way it was so we don't miss anything. Okay, then exponents right here. That is a positive 6 squared, so 6 times 6 is 36. Okay, then I'm done with exponents, I'm done with parentheses. Multiply, divide. So I'm going to multiply left to right, so multiply right here. Negative 2 times positive 36. Again, do it off to the side if you need to. 6 times 2 is 12. 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1 is 7. So I get 72. Negative times positive makes it negative. Bring everything else down. I still have multiplication right here. So negative 72 minus, this is a positive 5 times a positive 3. That's it says minus 3. It's not a negative 3 there. So 3 times 5 is 15. Okay, then I can do this step. It's subtraction, so keep, change. Makes it negative 72 plus negative 15. Same signs, add and keep. So if I add 72 plus 15, that's 7, that's 8, I get 87. They're both negative, so negative 87 is my answer. And that is it.